All right, we good to go. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Entrepreneur Podcast. On today's episode, I got Marco Champion, and he's somebody that definitely reached out to me like a couple of months ago, and we were able to build and connect. And I just found him fascinating. He's definitely someone that gives a lot of value and brings a lot of people together. So I'm blessed, grateful, and honored to have him on today's episode to share a little bit about his story, his entrepreneurship journey, and how he likes to bring people together, network, collaborate, and build, and what's going to go on from there. So, Marco, man, welcome to the episode, welcome to the podcast, and I'm very happy to have you.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me on. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, so why don't you share a little bit about your journey? How'd you actually get into entrepreneurship, and what was your first business?
Yeah, 1000%. And before I do, I just want to touch the point on connecting with people because, obviously we got connected through social. You mentioned we're going to talk about connections. And I think that it's the most beautiful thing that social media has sprouted out of is the connections with others, right? That we're able to connect with people that are not in our city, that are not around here, and create these relationships, that are not physical relationships, they're digital relationships, but
Yeah.
It comes into fruition with actual physical things, and we'll talk a lot about that. But yeah, to start off, my first business that I ever created, I did a lot of businesses when I was in high school that weren't like trademark LLC S corporation businesses, like just the buying and selling of video games and creating duct tape wallets and selling those. So like if we talk about the first time I've actually sold things, we go back into like school times and like middle school when I was selling that type of stuff. But the first legal business that actually was like, hey, this is the first one. I'm 18, LLC, I own it, was Motive, the Motive brand. And the reason why I created that, just to give you some backstory, was, it's very rooted in skateboarding, and I'm a skateboarder. I love skateboarding. Always wanted to be a pro skater when I was younger. And sorry, the dogs are barking. And when I grew up, I was like, this is it. This is all I'm going to do. I'm going to be a pro skater. Like, I don't want to do anything else. I'm extremely passionate doing it until I was 15 years old where, unfortunately I fell in the street, got ran over by a car.
Oh, man.
Dude, I was like, I hit a crack, fell into the street, and I saw a tire just coming straight from my face. I had to like move my head and went right over my shoulder. I was like this close from it, just me not being here. And the doctor said I was never going to walk again. They said I was going to be, I was lucky to be alive, and I would spend the rest of my time on earth in a wheelchair. And that wasn't great, noise to hear. And I call it noise because it was noise to me at the time because I didn't really pay attention to it. They were saying it, but in my mind, I was like, I'm alive. I know what I love. I love skateboarding. I'm going to get back to it. I don't know how it's going to happen. I believe that I will. And I had this belief. And I went home after a month. I was in a wheelchair. I had shattered my pelvis. I broke my spine, damaged nerves leading to my legs. My foot, I wasn't able to move my foot because of the nerve damage. And I was just laying in bed, just thinking like, I'm going to do this no matter what. Like, I'm going to try to move my toes, even though I don't see any progression physically. Mentally, I know that I will get back up as a skateboarder, and I will get back on my skateboard. And I just believed it. And as I believed it, months came down the road where I learned how to walk again. I had some surgeries, and the doctors called it a miracle. And they said that, hey, you're gonna be able to walk again, and even better, you're gonna be able to hop on your skateboard. And at that moment, I was like, wow, like I knew it. Like I knew it was gonna happen, but why? Why did I know? And yet the doctors told me that no, it's not. And that's when I dove into like mentality. I started YouTubing, searching like the power of the mind. Your mind's extremely powerful. You believe something, you think a certain way, like it creates your reality. I started like really just, searching these topics, and it started expanding my awareness on life itself. So I started doing that. I was, again, 15 at the time. So 16 years old, I go back to school. And I used to be like, semi-popular, I had some friends and, I talked to girls and stuff like that at the time. And when I went back to school, I had lost like 50 pounds. I was super white because I was in bed all, not seeing any sun. I took a bunch of painkillers that, like I had to at the time, and that made me break out. So I was this kid who was like 40 pounds, 50 pounds less weight, skinnier, in crutches, super pale like a ghost, looking like a vampire, and like broken out all over the place. People were like, oh, fuck. Like, oh, like they were looking at me differently. They were like, I could tell people were like, seeing me differently. And that caused a lot of depression. It did. I got super depressed. And I remember it got to the point where I almost wanted to kill myself. Like it was like so like I knew I wasn't going to be a pro skater. I can hop on my skateboard, I can enjoy the sport, which is what I asked for. I'm like, I just want to get on there and enjoy it. But I knew at the time when I was depressed, I'm like, I'm not going to be pro. I can't be throwing myself down 10 stairs and getting on rails and really, injuring myself because I have metal in me now. I have, these problems that can be worse. And it was through that depression that I found meditation. Because at the time, like I mentioned, I was searching up, the power of the mind and the reality, expanding my awareness. And so when I found meditation, I did it because I knew that it would strengthen my mind and I wanted to feel better. And after the first time, I'm like, oh, I actually feel good. Like I actually feel good from meditating. And I started doing meditation consistently just because I felt good from it. That's it. That's the only reason. I'm like, it feels good to do this. Like I feel like my thoughts that are all these negative thoughts and ego and all that stuff started to quiet down. And I'm like, oh, that feels so much better. And so I started doing meditation every day for 3 months for like 6 hours straight every day. And from doing that, I got smacked with my purpose. It was like, this is why you're here on earth. Like God spoke to me and it was like, you need to use your story and your mission to build this business and show other people that they can do anything they set their mind to, just like you did. And that's when I created Motive. And the whole purpose of Motive is for people to stay motivated towards the things that they love and for them to be connected towards that higher self. And that's when I first started that first company. And, that's how I became an entrepreneur. And now I have other companies that are doing pretty good. So yeah, that was the first company.
So can you actually go back a little bit? You mentioned a lot of stuff there that I feel like was a lot of gems. I mean, your story within itself is a testimony. That's a serious testimony, and I know a lot of people that are listening and watching can feel it because I could definitely feel it, and I'm right here with you listening to it, right? So going back to like when that accident happened, and you received that news. But it seemed as though you were already mentally tough from there because you weren't accepting that news as it to be your reality. So can you talk a little bit about like where did your initial mental toughness come from? Like what about that news were you not accepting? Because sometimes some people just hear some information, accept it, then that becomes a reality. But it seems like even at a younger age, you was like, nah, that's not gonna be, not doing that. And then you kind of took it upon yourself to, like you said, to search on YouTube and find other measures of how to strengthen that mindset or just take your mind out of what was currently your reality at the time.
Yeah. And it's completely different from how I was in the beginning to how I am now. Because now, like, I know that pressure and like I just gained enough knowledge and experience to understand it. But back then, the only thing that drove me to be like, no, it's not going to happen was passion. It was my passion for skateboarding. It was my passion to get back up and do what I love to do. That's what motivated me at the very beginning. And that's where the whole brand Motive is rooted in, is like, I said skateboarding because it's what I love, but for other people, it's rooted in, their passions and their missions and what drives them. And usually it is tied to things that they love to do.
That's crazy, man. Cause like you said, you had that passion early on. And for some people, it takes them a little longer to find it. And I actually have to double down with you and agree that, your mind and your mindset is extremely powerful, and it could get you through a lot of things that you're currently going through and get you through some tough situations, and actually have you get into exactly where you want to be, even if you go further than that. The only limitation are those that we impose on ourselves or the limitations that we believe. So you started this brand Motive, huh?
It's all in the mind, limitations like opposing, all that stuff is up here. Like you conquer this, you conquer everything else outside.
100%. And that's definitely something that is easier said than done, because a lot of people are looking outside first instead of looking inside first, but like you said, if you're able to conquer and master what's going on up in here, then I mean that just opens up so many doors for you.
Totally. And for people who are looking to master their mind, right? Because sometimes there's thoughts that come in and you have no control of them. I love to use this metaphor. I like to use a metaphor of your mind is like a house or like a home, right? And so there's always going to be thoughts, and thoughts are not always yours. Your thoughts are also influenced by the environment, by the people you're hanging around with, by stimulus that you're consuming. And so when you think about thoughts, think about those thoughts just being like cars driving down the street of your home. And if they're positive thoughts, they're good thoughts that you want to believe are yours, that are going to help you, Bring them into your home. Open your doors. I mean, you're standing in guard at the door of your mind using this metaphor. So open your door and let them in and entertain that thought. You entertain that thought by having like-minded thoughts, and now they have a party in your mind, right? Of all these positive thoughts happening. Now, when you see negative thoughts, the thing about negative thoughts is they're not going to just be driving down the street. Positive thoughts are going to be doing that, but negative thoughts, they're going to be burglars trying to break into your home, right? They're going to try to get in there and be like, these are your thoughts. But it's up to you to identify, hey, this is out of my home. It's okay for it to be outside. My doors are locked, got the windows locked, got my straps, whatever the heck you want to, whatever you want to visualize that you're protected in there, you're good. And so then that becomes a separation and it doesn't become an attachment. And when you attach a negative thought to you, then that's you saying, oh, I identify with it. Then it becomes true to your reality. Compared to you going, oh, no, that's a negative thought. That's outside of my house. I know it's there. I know it's real, but I don't identify with it. I'm not letting it in. And so when you do this and you start practicing this, whenever this happens in your mind, you start practicing, okay, these are not my thoughts. It's okay for negative thoughts to be in there. They're not in my home. I'm not welcoming them in. So I'll watch them pass by my window and I'll just view them as they go away. Because they're only going to try to break in for so long. Then they go break into somebody else's house. So I love
I was gonna say, what's the easiest way, not to cut you off, but what's the easiest way for someone to do something like that? Because I know you have mentioned meditation early on. Is that something that you would recommend, or what's another way someone could actually start doing that?
So that in itself is a visualization, right? So like us visualizing what's in our mind is actually real. The separation between what we see in our mind and what we see physical life is the fact that you're able to see it here. But both of them are real situations. They're both made from energy, and energy is everything. So with this visualization technique, every time there's a negative thought, begin to visualize. Visualize a home. Visualize your house. Visualize that thought being on the outside. Visualize the ones you want being on the inside. And like once you have this visualization, then it's real energy being put into action. And so with this technique, I would say visualization. Meditation is huge. Like if you're not meditating, I would definitely YouTube guided meditation and try it out for at least 3 months. I guarantee you your life will completely change. You'll feel the difference after 1 month. It gives you clarity. It's like working out the mind. It's like saying going to the gym, right? Like so many people try meditating and go, oh, it doesn't work. I'm like, how long do you do it? A week, 2, maybe 3. It's like, well, if you went to the gym and you worked out for a week or 2 or 3, would you have muscles? No, like you might be just in pain and tired of it. Like, oh, I'm not used to it. I'm tired, right? But what happens if you work out for 6 months? You see the results. And so that's the same thing with meditation, except you see the results in your life. The results are going to happen outside of how you respond to situations, how other people are starting to communicate with you. Everything starts to change because you start to harness the power of your mind through meditation.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think meditation is so powerful, and it's definitely something easy that people can do. And I think, it can also be something when that people get into that could be a little uncomfortable because things are moving so fast, right? So you get used to things, sounds you're hearing, your subconscious, your conscious people talking, maybe music, the internet, social media. But then when you have to like just sit still for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes or whatever,
yeah,
you also begin to get restless, because your mind's still going, your body is sitting down, but like you're kind of, to your point, you're uncomfortable, you're not used to like doing this. So if you're only doing it one time or for the week or whatever, you're not even really getting in the groove to get those effects on yourself to then eventually like you would in like 60 days, 90 days, and how it would really impact and obviously change your life.
Totally. Yeah. Just got to stick through it. You got to stay motivated.
Yeah, 100%. And for those that are listening, I do a morning meditation with people every morning for 10 minutes. So that's something that you can tap into. But regardless, I think, like Marco said, jumping on YouTube, grabbing apps like Headspace or Calm, those are good starters for you. And maybe just getting an accountability buddy for meditating. That's something that I think would be smooth. Maybe somebody that's currently in your household or a best friend, y'all can just meet up every day, maybe just on the phone, if not in person, and then just, take 5 or 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and just do what you need to do and just meditate right there. I think that'd be great for just expanding, your mind and your body and just growing. So
totally.
You have this brand Motive, and you're operating this brand. And then what leads you to starting your next business?
Yeah. So as I'm building Motive, I'm 18. I lose. I wouldn't say lose. I invested a bunch of money the first year that I didn't see back. I made a bunch of mistakes. And as anybody who starts in business, they're gonna make more mistakes than not. And so I made a bunch of mistakes, and I realized, okay, look, if I really want to build this brand and blow it up, I have to understand social media and I have to master it, because it seems like that's where everybody's attention's at. And if I can get my brand in front of their eyes, it's gonna do well. And so I found a mentor. I was about 21 at the time. Found a mentor who owned a record label, but he was blowing up artists on social media. And I saw that he was blowing up artists on social media. So I'm like, this is the guy I want to pick his brain and figure out. And so I started picking his brain. He then charges me. I'm like, I'll buy it. Fuck it. It's a couple $100 social media package to grow my Instagram. Start doing it for my business. We become friends. I befriend him because obviously he's someone that has the results that I'm looking for. And I'm like, hey, I need to get close to this guy. I need to befriend him. And so we become friends, and I'm doing whatever I can at the time to make money for Motive. Like any money that I make just gets funneled into Motive because that's my mission, and I just want to do that all the time. And so I was doing Forex, the foreign exchange market, and I was doing all these different things. And with Forex, I got up to $5,000, $6,000 from my $1,000, $2,000 I invested. And I was pumped. I was like, this is working. This is making money. So I went to my mentor, or my friend, I guess he became my mentor after, my friend at the time, and said, dude, if you put in $3,000, $3,000 to $5,000 here, I'm gonna be able to double it. I just did that with mine. And so he gave me the money. And when he gave me the money, literally a week, 2 weeks later, I lost it all. The market was that way. It was USD, JPY, or USD, Euro. I forgot what I was trading, but it went the opposite way of where it's been going. That's where I kept making money on. And I remember sitting there, and actually, I remember this day precisely. I was skateboarding outside. I fell. I hit my back on the thing, and I was kind of sitting down. I look at the market. The market's taking a shit. I'm like, oh no! And so I physically hurt myself. Mentally, I'm getting fucked. And I'm just like, oh man, I don't know what I'm gonna do right now. And my friend's looking at me because he's experiencing me going through all this. He's like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I'm standing there. I'm sitting there. I'm just like, I just had read the book from Napoleon Hill. Is success through a positive mental attitude. So I knew that there's an opportunity within failure. Whenever a failure happens, you can react, which most people do. You react to, oh man, why is this happening to me? Oh, what's going on? And you just go in this reactive mode. Or you can wait and you can respond to whatever the opportunity is hidden within that failure. And so that's what I did. I sat there, I waited. I'm like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? All right, I'm gonna take a loan out. I'm gonna pay this guy back. First thing I'm gonna do is pay him back because I don't want to owe anybody money. There's something wrong there, and I don't want to have a bad taste in my mouth. And I don't want anybody else to have a bad taste of thinking about my name, because I'm building my brand, my personal brand, my reputation. It means a lot. So I want to get a loan, and I don't know how I got a loan, but I got approved for $10,000. I was like, yeah. I went in there with I put on my nicest watch. I went in there talking big game. I was like, I'm a Forex trader. I make money on the internet. Yeah. I'm gonna take this $10,000 and I'm gonna double it, triple it, and don't worry, the money's coming back. I sold it, and so I got the loan. I got $10,000. I paid him back, and then said, "Hey, you could have, blocked my number. You don't know where I don't know where you live. You could have really just gone away with most people do in this industry." He mentioned, but you didn't, and so since you didn't, you have a good heart. I'm gonna take you under my wing, and I'm gonna show you how I make 6 figures through the DMs on Instagram alone. And I was like, bet, all right, cool. So that was the best investment I could do, was paying this guy back. And so I pay him back. He takes me under his wing. I learn how he's able to build the brand of these artists. He I don't know if you know Little Skies. He worked on his art. Yeah, he worked on his brand, blew him up on social media. And so I saw what he was doing. I learned techniques. I then began to learn sales because he was hopping on phones from the DMs, and he was making 6 figures on the DMs alone. I took that knowledge. He was teaching me. I was selling for his business, for artist development programs, and for his record label. And then I realized the deliverables on that weren't met all the way, and there was a bad taste, and the industry was kind of cutthroat. And so I wanted to branch out and say, okay, I'm gonna take what I know and I'm gonna build iLegends. And this business is gonna be specifically only for people who are gonna create a positive impact with their influence. Because we were helping rappers who were buying lean and doing stupid shit with their money. And I didn't feel so purposeful doing it. So I did iLegends. I built iLegends, and when I was building it, like on the back end, my mentor saw that and didn't like it because I was now a resource for his business because he put so much time teaching me how to sell and make money in his business. I was conducting thousands of dollars for him. He didn't like that, so he cut me off. And at the time, I was living with my girlfriend, who now we're almost 9 years together, and we're in their first apartment. And I'm paying rent month by month from the money that comes in from these sales that I'm doing for his company. And so he owed me $3,000 in commissions that he did not pay out because he cut me off. And
so wait a minute, hold on. Let me stop you right there. So the integrity that you had of paying this guy back, actually, you went out and you borrowed and you got a loan, you paid him back, squared him up, then he took you under the wing, he taught you a bunch of stuff. You ended up working for him. You grew in your knowledge. You grew in your experience. You grew in the business. Then you started another company. But, you had a little bit of a different direction. So it wasn't direct competition. But he wasn't necessarily feeling that. So he cut you off and he ended up not paying you back?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So.
But it was a blessing.
I was going to say that. So it goes to show. Always be a man of your word. Always be a person of integrity. You can only control yourself. You can't control what's going on with the outside forces or with another person. But from there, you were blessed because you learned so much. You grew so much. You were able to get a mentor, and then obviously it ran its course, and he had the same opportunity to be integrity. To show his integrity, I should say. And in this particular moment, he didn't, but it became an even bigger blessing for you.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll go into why it became a blessing. But right after that, I had no money to pay rent, and so at the time, it didn't feel like a blessing. At the time, I was like, "Oh my God, I have to make money some way, somehow." And as an entrepreneur, 21 years old, grinding in different directions within business, I felt like I still was an entrepreneur, even though I was a salesperson for another company. I didn't like the idea of getting a job. Like a regular job. And so I'm like, okay, I need to make some money with iLegends. And so I had 3 weeks. I'm like, I have 3 weeks before rent's due. I have no money. I got to conduct at least $1,500, at least $1,500, at least $1,200. I had a couple $100, at least $1,200. And so the weeks went by, sending DMs out, I was doing the same strategies, and I was making $0. And it came down to the last like 5 to 7 days where I was like, oh my God, 5 days from now, I have to pay rent. I might have to get a job. And it was the moment in time where I was like literally feeling like I'm going to quit. I'm like, fuck, I'm giving this up now. I got to get a job so I can pay rent. And at the moment that happened, the moment that I thought that, the moment that I embodied it for at least an hour was when I got replies in the DMs and I got scheduled calls. And then I got on phone calls with people to help them with their social media. And we ended up conducting business. So that right before I was supposed to pay rent, I got $1,750, which is a couple $100 more than what I needed to pay, and then I was able to buy, food. I didn't have to ask like parents to buy food. So like ever since then, I always over delivered on what the service was, and my business just grew month after month after month after month. It transferred. Since we were only working with people at the time, I was kind of just taking on anybody because I just needed money. But as we started fine tuning, and we're only working with people who are successful, driven, and want to create a positive impact, that the network became super tapped in. Like the network was just now I'm just all my clients and all the members in iLegends are just a bunch of millionaires. And being connected with millionaires, regardless if you're helping them or not, like just the connection itself creates so much more opportunities for success. And so I went from an iLegends agency to the iLegends network because the people within the network itself create as much success as the strategies that we use on social media. Now we've gotten really good over the years. This has been 3 years now that since that time where I first started the business till now. And we've gotten really good at achieving results using social media, achieving building that attention and building funnels and driving that traffic and creating a community of people who are willing to, know, like, and trust you and pay for the things that you're offering. That's the whole, that's all we do now with iLegends. And so, yeah, that's the story.
So where'd you find the importance of like over delivering and then actually that networking component? Because there's a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners that continue to go after new clients and new clients and new clients and new clients, but they're not nurturing current clients. They're not going back and tapping into the community of people that they previously worked with. They're not building the email list. They're not building a text message list. They're not building a Facebook group page.
Yep.
You know, they're just not building anything with the contacts that they currently have. So how did you discern the value in that? And then that led to you obviously building your iLegends network, you know, versus just an agency.
Yeah. So there's a lot into that question. So, I mean, like building out the network separate from, you know, so this first talk is kind of two-sided question. So this first side is over delivering on everything that we offer. Like that is a must, because if you over deliver, then the people are always going to be happy and they're always going to refer others. And so I haven't ran any ads to bring in clientele. And I honestly stopped after a year. I stopped DMing people. I would only like DM like if I saw someone that I'm like, oh, they can benefit. I would send a message and all. But I stopped doing that because all of our business is coming from referrals. Because everybody's talking about us because we're creating such good results that they weren't expecting. They were expecting X and they got X plus Y. So that's why they kept talking about us. And so I think if you're not over delivering, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Yourself, not the client. The client, you're doing the client a disservice as well because they could be getting more, but you're doing yourself a disservice because you could be getting more if you over delivered. Right? Like the more you give, the more you get type of, theory.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, that, and then building the network. So like relationship capital I saw is the biggest form of asset there is in this world. I think people, there's more value than there is in people than there is in gold and crypto and real estate and anything else. And so I see the value of connecting with others higher than anything else. And so I always make sure there's people that are doing good in the world or they're successful in some way. I try to create a connection where I can provide value to them. And even if I don't ask for anything in return, I know maybe later down the line, I will have some type of ask I could ask from them, or, the universe is going to give back to me in some way, some form. But by giving that value, it keeps the relationship. And that's what I want. I want to just hang on to as many relationships as I possibly can of successful driven individuals who are doing good. And so that's how I started building the network. And I realized like, dang, like you don't need money to accomplish your goals. You don't need money to build a business. You need the right people to do so, right? You don't need 1 million followers. Imagine you had one follower and that follower was Oprah. Your business will blow up, right? So it's about having the right people in your business, not having all the money that you necessarily think you need to build it. And that's kind of why I started going into the network and the whole repositioning of the company.
Yeah, 100%. So what was the original business model that you switched from to go into this other business model?
Yeah, so from agency, the business model is quite similar because we still help people with social media. So on the agency side, it was you come in, there's a machine that helps you, there's managers here, there's content creators, there's all these different positions that help you build your social media agency, right? And connections with other resources that can help you build. So we went from this model to the model of, okay, look, I don't have to do it all myself or the people that I hire. I'm gonna look for the best people in the industry so I can refer them my clients and just focus myself on the network. Not so much on the service. I'll have some services that I've already done and are really good, so I'll keep those. But for the rest of it, I'm just gonna reach into the networks and figure out what's the best and offer that to my clients. And so this model over here is just it's a membership model where you're a part of a network, and depending on what package you're on, if you're on an influencer development program, we're gonna put the right resources in place for you. But overall, everybody in iLegends has a group of people that are looking for their success, that are looking for getting their message out there to as many people as possible because they believe in the legacy behind this person. Compared to an agency that's like, oh, you pay us, we give you a result, it's over, pay us again. That's agency. Network, it's like, dude, we're here because we want to be here for your legacy. And that was the major differentiator between an agency and the network that it is today.
Yeah, that's definitely a whole nother shift, right? When you're looking at it like that, because now not only are you helping more and more people, but you're bringing in and you're building outside relationships that's also going into the current clients that you have. So like you said earlier, you're just providing more and more value. You're over delivering and you're strengthening your relationships on both sides. and that's pretty much amazing. So what's the trajectory with iLegends right now? So are you still dealing with just regular clients and solopreneurs, entrepreneurs? Are you working with businesses as well? Like, where are you trying to take it at this point?
Yeah, so we always focus on personal brands, on the reputation of the people that own the business, because I believe if you get more people to know, like, and trust you, they're going to want to do business with you regardless. And if you build you as an asset, you're not going to go away. Your business might go away. You might shift your business. Things might change in that aspect, but you, unless you die, are going to be here doing stuff. And so I feel like if you're, putting your marketing budgets towards getting your name out there, like, you're going to be able to have an audience that no matter what you touch, other businesses, other relationships with people that you want to help, that anything, people are gonna be able to flow attention and abundance to them. And that's why I believe in building personal brand. So iLegends is still going to continue building personal brands. It's not going to scale quantity wise. It's going to scale quality wise. So we have about 1 to 2 dozen clients right now, members within the network that are our core members. Then we have other people that are in the communities and stuff like that. But the people that we help, that are paying us $5 to $10 grand a month to make sure that their social media is on point and is reaching the people that they need to reach to build their business. Those people, we're just going to continue scaling that as we find the quality of people that we want to work with. Because again, these teams, they're all in place because they actually believe in that person, in the message that he's bringing to the table or she's bringing to the table. And so that's going to be scaling a lot slower over time. But I had just started another business with my mentor. I have another mentor, Michael Morelli, who's a really good mentor, not like my first mentor that I mentioned. Really good guy. We just became partners. We've been friends for years. And he's the type of person that does things with the right intention, just like I do. Like we vibrationally match in so many ways when it comes to how we think about life and business and how it should be ran. And we started a business called Content on Demand. So it's taking that content sector resource from iLegends and purposing it or relabeling it as content on demand, because that's a problem I had to solve as we got so much clients that we couldn't take on in-house. I had to build out a system with editors across seas to edit the content, and then we have content managers here in America that look at the content, make sure it's marketable, fine-tune that marketability of the content so that piece of content is bringing in a return on investment. And we got really good at that process. So that's the process that he looked at. He's like, dude, this is $1 million freaking process. Like, let's build it. And so we just build content on demand. We haven't launched yet. We're still getting everything ready to launch. But that's going to be a service and app where you can just drop your content in there for YouTube, no matter what social media platform, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, anything. You drop your content in there. Editors will bring it back within 24 hours, depending on how much edits need to be done. And then you'll get a notification saying your content's ready to be reviewed. You get to review it, and then you get to post it right onto the platform through your phone. And that's going to be coming relatively soon. But those are the businesses.
So you're giving us a sneak peek right here on the On the Pursuit podcast, your brand new business, Content on Demand, and exactly how it works. When do you anticipate launching this brand?
So in about 2 months. So we're in month 1 right now, and we're getting everything ready. We're having the funnels, the website. We just cracked down the logo. I'll give you guys a sneak peek since you guys are the first ones. You guys are the first ones to really know about this.
Amazing.
I haven't shared it at all. But we just created the Instagram. I'll look it up real quick, and this is the logo. Content on Demand. So yeah, that's going to be coming up in the next couple months. So just stay tuned to that. That's going to be a fun service because everybody needs content. Where we're going towards in this day is if you're not producing content, you're getting left behind. This is where is at and where reality's at.
No, for sure, 100%. Can you dial back a little bit and talk to the importance of marketing? Because you was talking about building these personal brands. So if you're someone watching this and listening to this, and you've been kind of on the fence about where you want to go with your brand, or you don't want to be the face of your personal brand, or you just don't know the value of actually what your personal brand could be, could you speak on that a little bit, Marco?
Yeah, totally. So personal brand is just another word for reputation. Right? So we all have a personal brand, whether we like it or not. We all have a reputation. Now, the question is, do you want to increase that reputation? Right? Do you want to work harder at working smarter, which is a book that I'm about to launch to? Because when you work on your personal brand and you increase your reputation and you have more attention in that, there's more opportunities in life for you to be able to do business. and more connections, right? Because as you build your reputation, you're getting more people to know you, to like you, to trust you. You're getting more opportunities to do business. So if you're thinking about growing your personal brand, just know you have one. And it's a good idea to grow it because it's the same. It goes hand in hand with growing your personal development, right? You read books, you watch stuff like this to learn, and that stuff grows your mind. Now, how do we do this on a digital aspect? Well, that's personal brand. When you learn things, teach it on social media, then you're teaching other people and literally giving them value. And then that correlates to them remembering, hey, you're the person that brought me value. And at the end of the day, like at the end of the world, like when you die, people are not going to remember the business that you had or like the type of money that you made, cars that you drove, how you made you. And that's possible through social media by putting out content, by helping people through the value that that you have to share with the world, through your story, through what you learn, through your experience. And just to top it off, so don't be selfish because you have kids that are going to be watching your stuff and they're going to be like, this is my dad or this is my mom or this is my grandma. And like, this is their whole life. And do you want them to see a bunch of videos of you shaking your butt, or do you want them to see a bunch of value that you left for them so that they can use that information to help them in their life hundreds of years from now?
Or you could balance it out. You could throw a little butt videos in there with the value.
1,000%, right? It's a balance of entertainment and education.
Yep. Attention and entertainment.
Education and entertainment. Yeah.
Definitely. So, all right. So we got the value of the personal branding, the different types of, the value of marketing. What about the different types of marketing? Because there's so many different ways for you to get a message across. Do you think it's important for somebody to be omnipresent, to be on as many platforms as possible? Or should somebody just really, really focus on one platform and become a master of that? What would you say about that?
I would say the answer is both. So I would say definitely have omnipresence where you create a profile on every platform and you have the bio and the people can look you up and know who you are and what you do, and maybe drive that traffic to the ones that you're not using to the ones that you are using. So if you're using Instagram or using YouTube, which are like the two major ones I would recommend to use, and you don't use TikTok or you don't use Facebook or you don't use LinkedIn, create the profiles on those accounts, be omnipresent, and drive the traffic of those other accounts that you're not using to the accounts that you are. And I would drill in on one or two just to begin with before you move on to others. But the cool thing is that you can repurpose your content. So if you really next this, I want to go 100% in, create macro pieces of content that go on YouTube, like these long forms of videos, like 5 to 10 minutes. Do at least one of them a week. If you could do 2 of them, amazing, but do at least one, and then cut those snippets, cut micros from those pieces of content and put that on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can repurpose it for other platforms. So ideally you can just record one thing and go on all the platforms.
Yeah, 100%. I would definitely agree with you on that. So like for me, for instance, Instagram is definitely a platform that I'm at primarily, but then also I'm playing on YouTube. But then there's also there's Twitter, there's TikTok, there's even Bigo Live that's becoming more popular recently. But you can be omnipresent, like you said, on all these platforms, but then just have your main one or your main two, and then use the other ones to also have some content on. But then like you were saying, drive those to the main place that you want to play at. So what do you think about
Totally,
before we wrap it up, what do you think about the changes in the marketplace, like Instagram moving from a picture sharing app to a video messaging app, video and messaging, and then also like the whole movement with like YouTube now? Like obviously YouTube has been really, really popular, but now it's even I feel like it's becoming a little bit more vital now for you to have a presence and have a channel on that. But what do you just think about the whole landscape of content and attention and some of the platforms that seem to be trending a little bit now?
Yeah, I think the first thing that came to mind was the first people to adapt are the first people who are going to win, right? Like social media and the internet, it changes very rapidly, like a lot faster than anything else in history. And the people who stick on with those changes, because new updates happen, algorithm shifts, YouTube now has shorts, Instagram now has reels, like take advantage of all those new changes because the algorithm within all of the social media platforms, favors the people who use the new features. So if there's changes, there's updates, use them, take advantage, adapt. Like, get out of your comfort zone of, oh, this is how I post. I always post photos on Instagram. I don't do videos. No, well, hey, videos are starting to be the biggest thing now. And then audio is the biggest thing, right? So adapt to what's new, stay in the marketplace, right? Keep your mind on the right accounts. If you're scrolling through social media and you're not learning from people that are like, oh, this is what you should be doing, or this is what's happening on social media, or this is what's happening in your industry, then you're scrolling through the wrong pieces of content. If you're just scrolling and you're just seeing a bunch of girls shaking their butts, like, that's fun. Like, I get it. I'm a guy. Like, we like that. But you got to really check yourself and realize, well, how much time am I spending on that compared to I could be learning on how to progress in business. So I use social media as that tool, right? It can be used, it can use us, or we can use it.
No, 100%, man. So before we get out of here, I want to thank Marco for spending time dropping a lot of gems. I mean, I can even go back to this and listen to a lot of amazing things that he shared. There's definitely a lot of gems to unpack and gather and, incorporate in your business ASAP. But is there anything else you want to share with the viewers and also the listeners?
Just to retouch what we talked a little bit about personal branding, and for those of you guys who are thinking about thinking about growing your personal brand, to correct myself, I would just say, like, things are tough to start. Businesses, personal brands, like social media, like everything's going to be feeling uncomfortable when you first do it. Meditation, we talked about meditation feeling uncomfortable, like everything's going to be uncomfortable. So if I can leave you with this, know that through uncomfortability, through that pressure, it will create a diamond if you see it through. If you quit, it will get crushed under the pressure and you will turn into coal. And so don't quit, stay motivated. You could achieve anything you set your mind to. Just continue taking action every single day, and eventually you'll get there, no matter what it is.
100%, man. I totally agree with you. And again, I want to thank you. So if anyone's listening and watching this, they want to tap into you, they want to utilize your services, or they just want to connect or get into the network, or just get some answers to some questions they may have that we ain't cover, how are they able to get in contact with you?
Yeah, Marco the Champion on your chosen social media platform. I live on Instagram. I like YouTube, like I mentioned before, but I use the other platforms here and there. If you message me on Facebook, I might not hit you back up for a couple months. Send me a DM on Instagram. I'm checking those every day. So yeah, Marco the Champion.
All right, y'all. This is another episode of the On the Pursuit podcast. I want to thank my guest, Marco Champion. Make sure y'all tap into him. Definitely somebody you should watch, pay attention to, and connect with. And I'll see you guys on another episode.